Match day 2 is quickly upon us in the Europa League. Red Star is away to Ludogorets from Bulgaria. Ludogorets has been the best Bulgarian team for a number of years now, close to 10. They won the title again last year. They're very close to actually not winning it, which would have been the first. I think they won 9 titles in a row, so it would have been the first time in 9 years that they didn't win the title. But they did. They came out on top, another title secured, and they're becoming one of the teams that, year in, year out participates in European football, whether it's Champions League, whether it's Europa League, whatever the case may be. And they're a team that does spend some money in terms of the players that they bring in. I'm not sure if, what the amount that they do sell players for, but they do spend money bringing in players. So kind of backtrack a little bit. As we know, Braga lost to Red Star Belgrade 2-1 in the first match day. Ludogorets played to a 1-1 draw against Midtjylland in the first match day. Red Star 4-0 winners over Novi Pazar this past weekend. Bad news for the team as a whole. 4 players tested positive for the coronavirus, which was Katai, obviously one of the better players, Borjan, the number 1 goalkeeper, Dragovic and Degenek, who are both center backs. So this is going to be kind of a makeshift Red Star squad, so to say, with some new players kind of getting minutes. And as I'll give my lineup for the match that I think that I would bring out. I'll talk a little bit about that. So in net, we have Zoran Popovic, who is Red Star's actually 3rd goalkeeper. He's kind of like a 2A almost type of thing, with Borjan being the number 1 keeper, and then you have Godic and Popovic, who are kind of like the 2nd goalkeepers. And Godic has played, I believe he's played 2 matches in the league, and Popovic has played 1, which was against Novi Pazar this past weekend. So Popovic will get the start in goal. There's rumors that this could be a 3-4-2-1 formation. I would not do that, because if you go with 3 at the back, you would be relying on Pankov, who hasn't played a lot of football. You would bet on Irakovic, who's a youngster who played really, really well in the derby 2 weeks ago. I have no problem with Irakovic at center back. In the derby, he played as a right back, which I don't usually like, but he was outstanding. Played really, really well for, I think he's a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, so he played really well. And then you would probably be relying on Gobelic as a center back. I don't even like Gobelic at his natural position, which is a right back, let alone as a center back, which is now you're throwing him into, a new position as well. I think the last time he played a center back was against Milan in Milano, where he was sent off. So I would not do that. I would play Rakovic and Pankov as the center backs, and then I would have Rodic on the left and Gobelic. I'm assuming Gobelic is going to be on the right as the right back. It's kind of like a platoon, and I always talk about this with Gobelic and Gajic. Even though Gobelic has been getting more minutes, Gajic is coming back from an injury as well, so I don't think he is going to start in this match. I wouldn't think so. The 2 defensive midfielders, and this is where I kind of throw a wrench into everyone's plan or whatever anyone else is thinking. I would have Sonogo, who has been a mainstay at that position, outstanding against Braga again, probably the best player. And I would have Stanic as the defensive midfielder. At some point, we're going to have to start relying on some of this young talent that we have in the team. Krstičić is also coming back from a stomach virus that basically half the team had. So I don't know how much he's ready to go. He wasn't that great against Braga. He was okay, but he wasn't exceptional. I mean, I wouldn't say, Krstičić had a great game against Braga. I have to put him in that lineup again. I wouldn't do that. I would put Stanic there. I was impressed with how he played against Partizan in the derby, being a 20-year-old, and that's kind of like your first feel for the match. I thought he was really good, really calm when he did come on. He only played something like 20 minutes, so it's a small sample size, but I really like what I saw from him. So I would have him there. I would move Kanga to the attacking midfield position, which is kind of what he played against Novi Pazar. It was more of a 4-1-4-1 formation. So I would have Kanga attacking midfield. Ivanic I would have on one wing, and I would probably have Živkovic on the other wing. Falco played the entire match against Novi Pazar. Didn't see too much from him. He's really kind of falling out of favor, even for me now. He's just not showing enough going forward and creating chances. He has an excellent left foot, I'll say that. He had 2 or 3 shots on net that probably should have been goals. The Novi Pazar goalkeeper really made some really good stops, and it easily could have been 7 or 8-0 for Red Star, but he really did make some stops. But I'm not completely sold on Falco. I would probably have Živkovic on that other wing, and like I said, Kanga through the middle and Ivanic on the other side, and I would have as the striker, I would go with Diony. Just watch the conference from Dan Stankovic. Ben and Pavkov will be with the club, so they will be traveling to Bulgaria. He just doesn't know if he's going to be able to rely on them and how long they're going to be able to play. At some point, I think that you will see Ben and Pavkov in this match. Again, depending on what the score is and things like that. Even Ben as a right midfielder or right wing, his ability to come back and defend really gives the team another dimension. If Goblic needs help on that side, or if Rodic, depending on which wing he plays on. We've seen Ivanic do an exceptional job of coming back and defending as well, and Kanga can do the same thing. Diony, I kind of have a striker because, you know what, I think he had actually 2 assists against Novi Pazar. He scored a penalty and he had one assist. So he's kind of starting around into some kind of form at least. So I would go with him. Marko Lazetic, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Stankovic plays Lazetic from the first minute and maybe moves Diony to the wing and maybe Živkovic back to the bench, because Živkovic did pick up a knock. He did play a little bit against Novi Pazar. Didn't see too much from him, but nothing would shock me from Dan Stankovic at this moment in time. I think our biggest problem is kind of when Ludogorets does attack, and they will, what our center back pairing looks like, just because they haven't spent a lot of time playing together. So kind of what that looks like. I think with Stanic and Sonogo in that defensive midfield area, I don't know about Stanic, but I know Sonogo can't really create too much going forward. I think he actually did a decent job of against Braga, which is something that we haven't seen too much from him. But he was able to do some of that against Braga, and I was thoroughly impressed with him throughout the entire match. I thought it was exceptional. But can he do it 2 matches in a row? So I expect if Stanic and Sonogo do start in a defensive midfield position, I expect Ludogorets to kind of back off and let the 2 of them kind of generate the attack for Red Star, because you would much rather the attack for Red Star coming from Sonogo and Stanic as opposed to Ivanic and Kanga or whoever the attack could be coming through. I think, as always, it's important to not concede free kicks for us anywhere close to our box. It seems like every time that the opposition does have a free kick that's close to our goal, they create some kind of chance, or they do end up scoring. And we remember against Sheriff, unfortunately, and shout out to Sheriff, big win against Real Madrid. But we saw it against Sheriff, one free kick in the first match, they got a goal, one free kick in the return leg in Moldova, and they score another goal. And that's how they end up going through. But we just got the corners and the free kicks. We can't concede too many, because there's even less height now with no Dragovic and no Degenek in there. Obviously, no Milunovic again this year. He's sold Rakovic and Pankov. Pankov is okay in the air. Rakovic, I'm not too sure about. But there's really, and if you look, there's really no one that's going to cause Ludogorets any trouble, I don't think, from free kicks or corners, because I don't expect Pavkov to start. And when you look at our corner kicks, it's the same issue. Now you have no one who's really going to score on the other end there. So I think our goals are really going to have to come from open play. I know that Ludogorets has some injuries within their squad. I think their best player, who they signed, I think from Cagliari or something like that, I don't know if he's ready to go. I know he had an injury, and I think their left back also is injured. So we'll see what happens with them. I know Red Star isn't taken off for Bulgaria, I think, until maybe even tomorrow or later on tonight. But they're not going to hold a practice session there. They're just going to practice in Belgrade, and then they're going to go there and get ready for the match. So this should be an interesting match, and this just shows you how important that win against Braga was. Not even getting a point, how important that win is, because now you're underhanded. Stankovic said he doesn't want excuses, still has guys who can perform on this team, and I believe the same thing as well. This is the perfect game for maybe guys who haven't got many minutes, or guys who aren't really in form, to kind of prove that they're worth, and to show Stankovic that they really do deserve minutes. So I'm looking forward to this game, even though Red Star are handicapped and Ludogorets could be as well. It should be very entertaining, especially after the last time Ludogorets and Red Star played against each other.